Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Saturday evening and I have done nothing. I have rested and relaxed. I've spoken to Kathleen a few times. She and the dog are having a fabulous time down in Ayr. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So tomorrow, which for anyone who may not have realised or may have forgotten, tomorrow here in the UK is when the clocks go forward an hour. So if you, like me, normally waking up at 6:30 in the morning, it will now be 7:30 that you waken, because the clocks go forward an hour. It's also Mother's Day here tomorrow. So busy day tomorrow. We will probably go shopping, get my mum some flowers for Mother's Day, plus some other bits. Go and see mum probably later in the afternoon because she mainly sleeps all day and has seemingly become nocturnal. So we'll go later in the afternoon, see mum. I've got washing to do to catch up on and general just life weekend stuff. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. But I was having a bit of a thought yesterday. I'd actually stuck the TV on YouTube and some of my older videos had come up and I just heard it as background noise, and every so often I would turn it up and see what I was saying, and it hasn't got any better, has it? No. And I find it quite strange because the things I was talking about back then are the same, if not worse, although there is one good thing. I was actually speaking at that time that the petrol was £1.80 something per litre. It's now £1.30 something per litre. So that's a plus. I think as well excuse me. I think the heating cap has probably come down a little bit from where it was at the highest point. Things like olive oil have probably come down as well. But there's a whole thing going on. And I just sort of picked it up when I was listening to the news or saw some headlines going on. WH Smith has now been bought out. They were looking for buyers, and they're being bought over by a banking conglomerate, hedge fund, some money people. Anyway, not shop people, money people. But the money people have seemingly bought a number of businesses. Not quite sure what they do with them. But I've also noticed there was a company here, went bankrupt probably a couple of years ago now. And they were a house builder. They were a construction company, not one that we worked with when I was with my old job, thankfully. But they went into administration. And there was a report yesterday or the day before, somewhere around about there, saying that, yep, they've gone into administration and the only people that will be getting paid are the banks and the administrators. I mean, the administration bill for the fixing things is like 200 and something thousand. The bank's going to get something like 400,000. And all the subcontractors, the wee guys, all your guys that live down the street, your joiners, your plumbers, your electricians, etc., they're not getting paid. And what really annoyed me, and it was something that I had talked about in a previous video, what really annoys me is that these companies have normally got parent companies, and the parent companies buy the assets first before the smaller companies are allowed to go into administration. So they've still actually got a lot of the assets. Obviously, in this case, they didn't buy the office, etc., but there's so many where they've got a parent company who buys the stuff, and basically they pay the bank and everybody else gets left. But then what happens, a couple of years later, the original parent company starts going into administration and they lose everything. And all the people that are owed money from there lose everything. But your directors, etc., they normally walk away quite all right, thanks mate, because they've had a couple of years to stash their money and get everything out of the company that they can. And it just means that their employees, as I say, their subcontractors, their employees, whether it's the administrators, whether it's your plumbers, whether it's your, your groundsmen, whatever, all the wee ordinary people are just getting screwed over constantly. And I think something should be done about it. And I know that, politically, there was so many people voted for Labour here in the UK, thinking it was old style Labour, that it would look after the employees, that it would look after the ones that were struggling. And the first thing they did was wipe out the heating thing for the pensioners. So in my brain, without getting into a huge political discussion about how it's going, in my brain now, I need to work because I need to have money coming in. There's probably not going to be much of a pension by the time I get to retirement age of 67. So I will probably not have much to live on by that time if I'm still here. I'm hoping by that time I will have moved to Perth to a smaller place that I can buy outright and just do, stay in the centre of town. But my spending power will have gone down considerably because things are getting much more expensive. Looking back on some of the stuff that I did, I was doing some TikTok stuff for work yesterday. And I went and looked back what Prime of Midlife had put on TikTok. And it was a £20 a week food budget, which is now £25 a week. Because I'm under no illusions that I'm doing £20 a week. And I was also thinking I might go through to Creef Connections. Some of you may remember that place. We've donated there a couple of times. And they have a community pantry. Now, obviously, that is not something that I use because I am working. My need is not that great. However, what I have done a couple of years ago, I haven't done it any time recently, and I'm thinking it might possibly be a good idea again, is what I have done is on a Saturday, because they don't open again till Tuesday, I could go through there half an hour before they close the doors, and whatever they're going to have to bin, give them some cash for if I can use it, because whether I can pressure can it or dehydrate it or use it for cooking, it would be a saving. Although would it be a saving because it's about a 10-mile drive away? And I think that's something that especially rural people are trying to balance up as well. It's like, is it worth going to the shop if you're only going for a couple of things? Or for me, driving 10 miles on the off chance that they may have some stuff that's a little bit cheaper than it would be if I just bought it fresh from the supermarket. Now, there is, of course, the decision between getting online shopping and going to the supermarket. Now, the online shopping is a good plan, especially getting it on a Sunday so that it's ready, so that I'm ready for work for the next week. But it's normally about £3 odd to £5 for my delivery charge because my delivery pass ran out at the end of January. But I'm like, I work close to a supermarket now in Perth. I'm driving to Perth every day. I have a half day and a Wednesday. Why don't I just suck it up for the next couple of days this week and then go shopping on the Wednesday and get my fresh stuff so I've got stuff ready for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Why don't I just do that? Because I am now sitting watching stuff. It's like today the wind has got up. Although I have to say, Kathleen sent me a video from the caravan. She's got her bottle of juice sitting on the table and you can see the caravan shaking in the wind. The wind's so fat, the gusts are so hard. The actual juice is wobbling. So that was quite sort of yeah, stay inside, stay cosy. And I've completely lost the train of what I was going to say there. But it's basically things of, working out prices, working out what is most cost effective. And as I was about to say before I told you about Kathleen, I have got the little electric fan heater in the sitting room, which is basically to take the edge off. But today has become colder. So I have to switch off the electricity because I'm not using the electricity. I have wood there. I have logs. I have wood to cut from the fence, etc. I have free, well, the logs aren't free. I paid for them. But I also do have some free wood there. Why would I be paying electricity? And I don't think I've thought like this in a while. There seemed to be a while for the last year where it wasn't the best, but I had kind of got into a routine. But now the way things are going in the world in general, I need to start looking at cutting costs where I can, saving money where I can, doing things for myself where I can, etc., etc. And I was just looking because I was thinking, well, if I get up early tomorrow, I could go through to Perth and go shopping. I was like, right, what would you buy? And what has changed considerably in this house is I have nothing pre-cooked in here, apart from those fajita skewers that I got from Farm Foods. I have no pre-cooked. I've got nothing to just throw in the air fryer. I've got plenty pre-cooked that I could take out the freezer and put in the microwave. But I don't have any of like your breaded chicken, your chips, sweet potato fries. I have none of that left now. And I'm like, right, okay. Now looking at the Asda, when I was looking at the Asda online, the price of some of the pre-prepared veg, which was like for a 300-gram portion, I was like, I can buy a kilo of that veg for that if I do it raw. So I'm definitely getting into that mindset now. So yes, I just thought I'd come and tell you, I'm just doing my usual, having a thing. And the thing is that looking back to where I was, or what I was talking about a couple of years ago, and having my little rants and stuff and things like that, it's not really got much better, has it? I think we've just more come to accept it. But I have a feeling that come April, when here in the UK the employers have to pay their national insurance increase and different stuff's changing with taxes and benefits, etc., etc., I think there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on. So yeah, need to get ready. So while I don't have to get ready this evening, I am going to go make more tea, and I will catch you later.